Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. This review covers the Made in USA re-release of the U2-c Spyplane in 1/48 scale by Hawk Models. It's kit number HL-421 in the series, and Round 2 rates this as a skill level 2 for ages 10 and up. The kit contains 74 parts molded in black and clear plastic, with premium cartograph water slide decals. The build will give you options for 5 different assignment liveries and well laid out instructions. Completed dimensions are 12 1/4 inches long, 20 inches wide, 3 5/8 high, unless it's on the dolly where it's 4 1/4 inches high. Here are those beautiful cartograph decals. As you can see, the colors are vivid and the registry is good. I prefer to use some setting solutions when applying decals, so you might want to try that. Microscale makes a good product, but it helps the decals adhere and conform to contours. Like the actual U2, this mold has been around for a long time. You'll find some flash on the edges and maybe an injector pin to clean up, but take your time, do a nice job, and this will come out real nice when you're done. We're going to start with the left rear stabilizer, and it's attached to the left fuselage half. Part 21 then is attached to the left fuselage half, and part 24 is attached to part 21. Part 6 then is attached to parts 21 and 24. Now assemble the right fuselage, and we're going to attach the right rear stabilizer to that. The part 22 is attached to the right fuselage half. Then part 23 is attached to part 22, and part 10 is attached to parts 22 and 23. Match up the left and right fuselage halves, put them together with some sparing cement, and clamp them into place until they dry with some rubber bands and clothesline pins. I used some Testors brand Flat Light Aircraft Gray here, and gave the overall fuselage a couple of light mist coats and then a couple of heavier wet coats to give it a good even coating all the way around the fuselage. Gather parts 11, 15, 19, 20, and 38 and give those the same treatment with the Flat Light Aircraft Gray. Now 11, 15, and 38 are then installed onto the bottom of the fuselage assembly, and part 19 is attached to the bottom side of the right fuselage assembly. Then part 20 is attached to part 19. Gather parts 33, 34, and 58 and spray paint those the Testors Flat Light Aircraft Gray. Now part 33 is attached to the left side of the fuselage assembly, and part 34 is attached to the right side of the fuselage assembly. Part 33 and part 34 can be propped open with part number 58 if you so choose, but I have them in the closed position for this build. Gather parts 12 through 17 and spray those with the Model Masters Gray. And then we're going to take part 12 and attach it to a part 11. Part 16 is attached to part 15, then 17, 14, 13, and 17 are all painted Model Masters Flat Black. Part 14 is attached to the left side of part 12, and part 13 is attached to the right side of part 12. Both of the parts, 17, are attached to part 16. Part number 18 is spray painted Testors Flat Aircraft Gray and then attached to parts 12 and 11. Now both clear parts, the beacon lights, are glued to the bottom front of the fuselage assembly with Testors clear part cement, or you could use some white glue. Gather the parts for the left wing assembly and then attach 27 to part number 28. Now part 30 is attached to the ends of parts 27 and 8's assembly. Then part 44 is attached to part 45. The assembly 44 and 45 is then attached to part 28. Then part 41 is glued to part 43. The assembly 41 and 43 then is attached to assembly 27 and 28. The left wing assembly is then spray painted Testors Flat Aircraft Gray like the rest. Now gather and assemble the parts for the right wing assembly in the same fashion. Use some good strong glue for strength and assemble the left and right wing assemblies to the fuselage. And now is a good time to pay some attention to the seams for both the fuselage halves and the wing roots, as well as any other attachments. Go ahead and get those smoothed out and cleaned up. And now glue parts 36 and parts 37 together into a subassembly and spray that with the Tester's Flat Light Aircraft Gray. Then that assembly is attached to the lower left side of the fuselage as shown. Here you can see the intake unit has been placed on the fuselage. Cut out decal number 14 and apply it to part number 7, the instrument panel. Use Tester's clear gloss coat to apply over the decal to seal it into place. And then part 7 is installed into the cockpit section of the fuselage assembly. Paint the seat Model Masters flat black, and then the pilot is painted olive drab for the uniform, flat black for the gloves, and a gloss black for the helmet and the boots. Also use some gunmetal for the visor. The cockpit's canopies then I detailed with a Tester's acrylic gloss black paint marker. The seat is then placed into the cockpit area and installed, and the pilot is attached to the seat. The cockpit canopies are glued to the fuselage assembly with some Tester's clear parts glue, and the clear part, light beacon, is attached to the fuselage assembly in front of the front cockpit canopy. Now paint the standing pilot, number 39. Use some olive drab for the uniform, some acrylic skin tone warm tint for the face and hands, some gloss white for the helmet, some semi-gloss black for the boots and detail on the uniform, and some Model Master flat black for his hair. A styrene parts tree that was flat was used for the base for the pilot to stand on so that he would stand up. Part number 35 is painted Tester's gloss black before it is attached to the front cockpit canopy with some clear cement or white glue. Grab the parts for the Pogo wheels and paint them Tester's gloss red. And the 4 tires, then the rubber portion, is then painted flat black. And 2 of the tires, 32, are attached to part 31. This is done twice to build both Pogos. Paint these parts gloss yellow. Gather parts 50 to 54 for the dolly, and then attach part 53 to the right side of part 54. Now part 52 is attached to the left side of part 54. And then part 50 attached to the middle of both parts 53 and 52. Then part 50 is attached towards the rear between parts 53 and 52. Paint the hubs of all 6 tires gloss yellow and then detail the rubber portion with some flat black. Now parts 55R, 55, and 56 are painted yellow also. The 2 tires are attached to posts on the bottom rear of part 52, and 2 more tires attached to the post to the bottom rear of part 53. Then part 55R is attached to the bottom right of part 54. 55 left is attached to the bottom left of part 54, and part 56 is attached to the center beam on part 54 and to both parts 54 left and 55 right. Now pull out the wing support stands and paint those gloss yellow. Now that consists of parts 46 and 7, and then glue 46 to part 47. This assembly process is done twice, one for each wing. The wings don't actually touch the wing supports here because, well, they don't have any real weight to them like the real plane. So you'd have to scratch build wing supports that were a little bit taller if you needed to display your model with just the landing gear down. But on the dolly, of course, she looks just fine. Mask the canopy so that it doesn't get sprayed, and then give the plane an overall coat of a light clear gloss for decal adhesion. And then choose the decals of your choice livery and place those on the decals as indicated in the instructions. Or you can look over this one and see where those go. Once that's done, give the overall plane a coat of dull coat to bring back the gloss as a military craft. You're going to find this to be a fun build. despite the little bit of cleanup that you'll have to do. But it's a really special subject piece. You could also build the NASA and CIA versions as well, and it comes across with real good presence on your shelf at 1/48 scale. So don't let the flash and repairs that you might have to make stop you from building this great looking kit. We hope you've liked this premium quality review from Right On Replicas, and to make sure that you don't miss any of them, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you can also find us on Facebook and on the web at www.rightonreplicas.com. Thanks!